Hi, I'm Susheela Ravindran. I'm going to begin with the introduction. So, governments throughout the globe are working to reduce the human effect on the environment. So, in general, a green product is an ecological or environmental friendly product. According to a green product is one that does not contaminate the environment or deprecate the natural resources and may be recycled or saved. So, it is a product that has more ecological friendly content or packaging in order to reduce the impact on the environment.
Hi madam, I'm Harshini and I would like to explain more about the eco-friendly apparels and attire. Eco-friendly apparels and attire are any brand or line that attempts to minimize the impact on the environment and often the health of the consumers and the working conditions for the people that are making the clothes. The first characteristic of eco-friendly apparels and attire are the fabric used to make the eco-friendly clothing are usually made from non-petroleum derived fibers that are already occurring naturally in the environment, which is often on plants or animals. These plant and animal sources are always renewable. The second characteristic is it is made from recycled materials like recycled plastic, recycled fabric. So this process helps to divert some waste away from the waste management systems as well as reduce the usage of virgin materials. And the third characteristic will be it is not processed with any harmful or synthetic chemicals. For instance, synthetic dye or chemical-based finishing, which can contribute substantially to the pollution, and also eco-textile are usually left undyed or they are made from naturally colored fibers such as cotton, because not all naturally grown cotton add white. The fourth characteristic is manufactured in process that require less water and energy, which helps to produce less waste and pollution. And the fifth characteristic is manufactured in process that use renewable energy sources like solar energy or wind energy instead of non-renewable energy like coal. First of all, eco-friendly apparels and attires helps to reduce the amount of pesticide released into the environment. By wearing clothes that are second-hand or eco-friendly, you are reducing the amount of pesticide used on an everyday basis as you are decreasing the demand of clothing. Secondly, it reduces toxic waste. Clothes dyes are very dangerous to the environment and cotton clothing requires 1/3 of a pound of chemicals for a single shirt. Other than that, eco-friendly apparels and attires are able to support fair trade. By purchasing clothes labeled under the Fair Trade Act, you have reassurance that the manufacturing process did not involve any sweatshops and that the working conditions of employees were safe. Another importance of eco-friendly apparel and attire are you are able to support animal rights. Clothes made of leather or fur involve the deaths of many animals. One of the impacts is difficult to find. It is true that when we want to buy something specific, it is more tough to find it in a store. They used to have one of a kind and limited stock. As well as eco-friendly apparel and attire also has unfamiliar look. For most of the people, the appearance of ecological clothing is certainly strange at first. It is frequently taking a bit of time to get used to because the natural fashion is usually not as shiny and also not as smooth as conventional cheap fashion made of plastics. The second impact is sustainability difficult to understand. As a buyer, you have to depend on certifications and seals. This is because you have no insight into the entire supply chain. It is hard to measure how sustainable the production of the ecological fashion was between the individual tests. For instance, there may be unexpectedly higher transport costs or a lot of plastic was required for transport. And the last impact will be scarce equipment in stores. The fashion market is extremely huge and the trend towards eco-friendly apparels and attire are only slowly joining the masses of cheap clothing from manufacturing process that are anything but socially friendly and environmentally friendly. For this reason, fashion stores presently have eco-friendly fashion which is only limited or not yet in the assortment. Thank you.
A good day to Madam Husna. My name is Rhianna Janice Fernandez and I'll be starting off my presentation with the trends of eco-friendly apparels and attires. So we all know that mostly companies recognize that consumers prefer products that do not harm the natural environment or human health. So mostly companies that are selling green products are more favored compared to the other companies because this will help to gain a competitive advantage while achieving their business goals. Therefore, using the fact of green marketing, mostly companies are prefer green marketing as an environmental friendly tool because this will help companies to take more responsibility to protect our earth. In this modern era, government agencies making sure that business are more responsible in green marketing. Therefore, the environmental activities of competitors may put pressure to other companies to change their marketing too. But this will help to lead our country and our earth forward. So that's all for my part for the trend of eco-friendly apparels and attire. Thank you.
So next I'm going to explain about the definition of consumer perception. So perception is derived from the term perceive and refers to our ability to assign the meaning whatever inputs that our sense organs detect. So the stimuli might come in the form of visual, audio, gesture or tactile inputs. So perception is the process through which a person interprets or his sensory inputs to give them a meaning. So the sentiments that the customers have about our brand refer to a customer's perception. So next, the components. There are three types of components in perception. They are exposure, attention, and sensation. So exposure is the process by the customers comes in physical contact with the stimuli. Next is the attention, where it occurs when the stimuli makes a conscious impression on the consumer, where the consumer allocates processing the capacity with the key aspect of attention, that is selective, dividend, and also limited. So lastly is the sensation, where it describes what occurs when a person's senses are initially exposed to the external stimuli of a product or brand marketing. So the sensory receptors of a consumer are engaged by product or brand through the sight, sound, smell, taste, and also texture. So lastly, I'm going to explain about the theory. So all our senses as well as our inputs that get into them must be categorized and investigated according to the perception theory. So perception is the process through what we will be aware of something through our senses.
Greetings to Madam Husna. My name is Syahidah Aqila Sabri, and I'll start off my part with the data collection and research method. Based on our data collection, it was all collected through Google form, and we use Likert scale. So basically, Likert scale is used in measuring, statements, frequencies, just to know it was right or wrong. But by using Likert scale, we could actually, know that this is actually accurate. And also by collecting data through Google Forms, it's actually, it makes everything easier for us, especially on our analysis. Next, we go to research method. Google Forms are used to construct question or surveys and allow us to create and engage in any kinds of events. And it helps us to collect data in the most simplest way possible. So basically, this is how it looks like. Okay, so this is demographic profile, how we identify our respondents based on their gender, age, educational level, and employment status. And we move on to our consumer perception and perceived quality. And lastly is the perceived price. So let's go deeper with the analysis part.
Good morning, madam. My name is Suphitsa, and I will be presenting on the information analysis. So let's start with the demographic profile. And the first question is the gender. So as you can see from the pie chart, 55% of our respondent is female, meanwhile 45% of them is male. So this shows that the majority of our respondent is female, and this shows that female respondents are more engaging when it comes to answering question or survey about consumer perception towards green apparel product. Moving on to the next question. The next question is age. So as you can see, 75% of our respondents were 21 to 25 years old, 15% of our respondents were 15 to 20 years old, and 10% of our respondents is 25 to 30 years old. So this shows that the majority of our respondents is 21 to 25 years old because we mainly distributed our survey to our degree friends who are in their 20s, 21 to 25 years old. And moving on. The next question is educational level. So 65% of our respondent is in their degree. Meanwhile, 25% of them is in their diploma and 10% of them is in their foundation. So this shows that the majority of our respondent is in their degree because, as I explained earlier, we distributed our survey to our fellow degree friends.
So hi, back with me again. I'll continue with the information analysis question 6 to question 12. Let's go. So let's begin with information analysis question 6. So the question is, I agree that I am aware of the existence of eco-friendly products. So based on the result itself, top 45% majority of our respondents agree to the statement and saying, yes, they were aware of the existence of the eco-friendly product. So when people are actually aware of something, that means they care about something. So next is question number 7. So the question is, I agree that I've seen advertisement regarding eco-friendly apparels. So as you can see, most of the 35% respondents agreed that they have seen advertisements regarding eco-friendly apparels. So this proves that people in our community are easily influenced by the advertisement, no matter where it was, posted. In social media, advertisement on the television, on the radio, anywhere. Next, question number 8. The question is, I agree that I would consider buying eco-friendly apparels as the media have increased the awareness about it. So based on the result that we got, they would consider buying eco-friendly products after what the media has, said on TV and everything, to set up awareness about the importance of, having eco-friendly products. That's basically the power of media. Kita pula cepat influence, sekejap-kejap nak try ni, so, human beings. By the way, that's normal. Now let's move on to question number 9. So the question is, I agree that attitudinal loyalty has an effect on purchasing eco-friendly apparel. So based on the results, top 45% of our respondents agreed to the statement where attitudinal loyalty has an effect, on purchasing eco-friendly apparel. So this proves that customer loyalty towards one specific eco brand leaves a huge positive impact, because once they like it, they'll repeat purchase. Next is question number 10. The question is, I agree that I will be satisfied if I purchase eco-friendly apparels. And as you can see here, top 45% of our respondents agreed to the statement that yes, they will be satisfied as if they purchase eco-friendly apparels. Question number 11. The question is, I agree that green apparel's quality is involved in preventing pollution. So based on the results, top 55% of our respondents agreed to the statement. They agree, maybe they knew that eco-friendly products are meant to save our ecosystem. Who knows? People's perceptions toward eco-friendly apparels or products might be higher soon in the future. Lastly, question number 12. The question is, I agree that customer buying decisions are influenced by the knowledge of green apparel product quality. Based on the results of the analysis, question number 12, top 45% of our respondents agreed to the statement. Customer buying decisions are influenced by the knowledge of green apparels. I think it's true, because when people doesn't know about something, why would they want to get involved into something, right? So in this case, I must say that, when people know that actually eco-friendly or green apparels does actually, help out the nature, they would definitely buy the product itself. They want to be a part to save Earth, to save our ecosystem, and many kinds of things. So that's it.
Moving on to the next question. Or the next statement, it is, I agree that green apparel product quality is better than normal apparel. So 35% of our respondents strongly agree, and then the another 35% agree, and the remaining 30% were neutral to this statement. So we can see that majority of our respondents, they strongly agree that green apparel product quality is better than normal apparel. So this means that they are aware, and our consumer knows that green apparel product has higher quality compared to normal apparel, because green apparel product, they use different type of material that is safer for the environment. Moving on to the next statement. I agree that eco-labels allow consumer to learn more about the origins production of the eco-friendly apparel. So, according to the graph, 45% of our respondents strongly agree, and then 30% of our respondents agree, 20% were neutral, and 5% of our respondents disagree. So based on the graph, you can see that the majority of our respondents strongly agree that eco-labels allow consumers to learn more about the origins production of the eco-friendly apparels. This is because by having eco-labels, it will help the consumer, or it will guide the consumer to make their purchase decision. Because through eco-labels, the consumer can know what type of material is used, what benefit will they get, and what type of quality will they get from these eco-friendly apparels. Therefore, if they are eco-labels prepared for the consumer, it will help to influence the consumer purchasing behavior. And then moving on to the next section, which is the perceived price. So 40% of our respondents strongly agree, and then for another 40% were neutral, and the remaining 20% agree. So this shows that the majority would strongly agree and also neutral about this statement. So this means that some of the customers, they do agree that the price of eco-friendly apparel is pricey, but another part of the consumer or another half of the consumer, they are not sure whether if the price of eco-friendly apparel is really pricey compared to normal apparel. So they are not aware of the pricing. And the next statement is, I agree that price influences consumer behavior towards purchasing eco-friendly apparels. And as you can see, the majority, which is the 60% of our respondents, they strongly agree to this statement. Meanwhile, 25% agree and 15% were neutral. So this shows that the majority of our respondents strongly agree that price influences consumer behavior towards purchasing eco-friendly apparels. And this is because most of our consumer, they see price as an important factor that influence their behavior. This is because most of the consumer, they will mostly purchase products that have slower prices compared to the other. So this is why price plays a very important part in influencing the consumer's behavior towards purchasing eco-friendly apparels. And the next question is that I agree that customers are willing to spend more money for eco-friendly apparels. So the majority of our respondents were neutral, which is 35% of them, and then 30% of them strongly agree, meanwhile 15% of them agree, and 10% of them strongly disagree and disagree to this statement. So we can see that the majority of our respondents, which is 35 of them, they were neutral about the willingness to spend more money for eco-friendly apparels. So what does this mean? This means that the consumer, they are willing to contemplate whether or not to buy the eco-friendly apparels or whether or not to spend more money for the eco-friendly apparels. But in the same time, there's no guarantee to purchase it because they have other alternative, which is the normal apparel that offer lower prices. So at first, they might think about whether or not to spend more money for eco-friendly apparel, but at the same time, they might not purchase it because they still have other alternative, which is the normal apparel that offer lower prices. So this is why most of the respondents, they were neutral about the willingness to spend more money for eco-friendly apparels. Moving on to the next statement, which is, I agree that developing innovative green apparel products allow companies to ask for higher prices and gain higher profit. So according to the graph, 45% of our respondents strongly agree, meanwhile 35% agree, 15% were neutral, and 5% disagree. So this means that the majority of our respondents strongly agree that developing innovative green apparel products allow companies to ask for higher prices and gain higher profit. This is because our consumer or our respondent, they believe that the company will take advantage of their green apparel product and put higher prices. This is because in order to produce a green apparel product, the company needs to use a higher quality material that are safer for the environment, and therefore this will require a lot of effort. So in order to gain profit, of course, the company needs to place higher prices. Moving on to the next question, or the next statement. I agree that a proper and well-designed environmental regulation pricing strategy promotes better green product activities. And as you can see from the pie chart, the majority, which is 55% of our respondents, they strongly agree. Meanwhile, 35% agree and 10% were neutral about this statement. So we can see that a lot of our respondents, they strongly agree that a proper and well-designed environmental regulation pricing strategy will promote better green product activity. This is because the consumer, they believe that a well-prepared pricing strategy will actually give a chance to the green apparel product to open up more opportunity and market themselves better in the market, because they need to be a specific pricing strategy for the green apparel. The company cannot put high prices just to gain profit. So that's why it is important to have a regulation on the pricing strategy to promote better green products activities in the market. So that will be all from my part. Next, I'll pass it to my other members to explain on the next part. Thank you.
Hello and good day. I will continue my part with discussion, which is supporting literature. So based on Journal 1, which is measuring consumer brand perception for green apparel brands, as we all know, green as a term for garment is mainly an environmentally friendly way for fiber processing and consumption. Based on the contribution for green marketing, people can include general attributes of green clothes. Clothing masks can be green for energy efficient, both manufacturing and use. So thus this will be an interesting way to explore how brands influence consumer perception of clothing brands and causes of green behavior. Organizational can shape the perception of green consumers, and eco-friendly consumers are those who spend money to buy eco-friendly products, will avoid products that may be harmful to the environment during manufacture or use, because it consumes a large amount of non-renewable energy and harm organisms and conduct suspicious tests on humans and animals. Therefore, green consumption refers to consumer behavior that is socially conscious and primarily focused on environmental protection. This is also called as pro-social consumer behavior. Some of the factors that have a significant impact on consumers' purchase of eco-friendly products are the large amount of information available through extensive research and consumer awareness. Thus, increasing interest in the environment and green advertising by the organization is able to gain in popularity through environmental and social charities. I will continue on the part for Journal 2. Journal 2 is investigating consumer behavior for environmental, sustainable, and social apparel. Based on Journal 2, the current state of the apparel industry is changing rapidly as brands strive to keep up with consumer market demand. For the fashion industry to be sustainable, it must also be socially and environmentally sustainable. Therefore, many enterprises have many options to keep up with the changing market. This can be achieved by listening to consumer demands and also responding through transparency. People need to focus on what consumer want, which is positive attitudes towards social issues, sustainability, and transparency requirements. The apparel and industry is one of the leaders in social and environmental issues, with increasing attention and interest in sustainability issues. Therefore, for news and broadcasts around the event, consumers are increasingly demanding to know where and how their products are made. That is all on Journal 2. We're moving forward to Journal 3, which is why do retail consumers buy green apparel, a knowledge, attitude, behavior, context, perspective. So, in this Journal 3, the apparel industry is one of the largest contributors in the world, which is various social and environmental issues. So one way to counter these negative effects is to keep a distance. From the fast fashion paradigm, this has traditionally dominated the industry and towards green clothing. This type of garment significantly reduces environmental impact through sustainable manufacturing process. Therefore, companies that manufacture eco-friendly clothing have tried to advertise, based on a recognition of their eco-friendly practices, may increase demand for green clothing and emphasized by changing environmental knowledge, consumer beliefs, recruitment, and increased revenue generated by this sector. Based on this article, fashion and green loyalty in a business-to-business context. For maximum companies, sustainability has grown to be a commercial enterprise requirement and is not a count of choice. Environmental and social troubles are on the pinnacle of the strategic timetable of many organizations. This takes a look at specialized in the environmental components of sustainability. There are new techniques that live aggressive within the marketplace and gain company sustainability. Based on this article, many industries have protected inexperienced merchandise to finish their product variety or as an opportunity to different non-green merchandise. Compared to different merchandise, the commercial enterprise of inexperienced merchandise is regularly growing within the petrol marketplace across the globe. Companies have followed an inexperienced advertising method as a fix of advertising gear and factors, which permits corporations to serve the gold marketplace without harming the herbal environment. Researchers reviewing preceding research on this area, however, discovered best confined articles on sustainability within the site of B2B marketplace. That is all on Journal 4. We're moving forward to Journal 5, which is green marketing approaches and their impact on consumer behavior towards the environment, a study for the UAE. So based on this article, in today's environment, green marketing is is becoming more and more important around the world. Green advertising is closely linked to the conservation of the natural environment and therefore considered an effective way to promote products, services, and business ideas. For companies doing business in the current economic climate, consumers of green products are focusing on driving the force of consumption. New trends towards green consumers have created new market opportunities for the global economy. Green marketing and environmental marketing strategies have been a great interest since the 1980s. So marketing management ideas, which include retaining consumers over the long term through better marketing performance. But in today's business, the concept of sustainability is described in existing under the title of green marketing. The idea of green marketing covers the social aspects with a limited focus on environmental resources and the environmental impact of traditional marketing. These skills include protecting the environment from pollution, developing sustainable products, and being able to carry out product management process. So based on this article, the purpose of this study was to investigate the impact of various green marketing approaches on consumer behavior in the United Arab Emirates environment. So that's all on Journal 5. We're moving forward to Journal 6. Journal 6 is the elusive green consumer. So on the surface, it seems that there has been no better time to launch a sustainable product. Consumers, especially millennials, are increasingly saying that they want a product to embrace purpose and sustainability. Therefore, in fact, for example, Unilever estimate that nearly 70% of the greenhouse gas footprint depends on the products customers choose and whether they are used and disposed in a sustainable manner. For example, save water and energy during washing or recycling the container after each use. People have been investigating how sustainable consumption can be promoted for several years, conducting own experiments and reviewing marketing, economics, and psychology research results. So much of the research is focusing on public health interventions and by policy makers, but the results can be used by any organization that wants to encourage consumers to buy and act in a sustainable way. So leveraging social impacts, forming good habits, leveraging domino effects, choosing to speak to the mind or brain, and supporting experience with property is part of this Journal 6. So I would like to conclude my presentation on the discussion part. That's all from me. Thank you.